You are live, and you are alive if you are watching this broadcast. This is LA Prepper coming to you live from inside the luxurious Lexus RX 300. That's the screen of which currently says no disc detected, which is a lie. There is a disc in there, but my car does not. Oh wow! And the railroad gate has fallen and is partially down. That's going to be awesome for some truck who totally doesn't realize that. Hopefully, people driving trucks would be paying attention, but we are on the way to work to build things because I have bills to pay. If I slept in my car in the front or backyard and rented out the entire house and the garage and split bills 4 ways, well, I'd still have to work eventually, I think, but my cost of living would be much less. There's definitely something to be said for this house hacking business, so to speak. Even being a master tenant turns out that it's usually if you can get good tenants, it's a pretty sweet deal. Dealing with tenants is its own headache. So, if you're only getting like $400 discount a month or something, it may not be worth it, but man, this night shift stuff is not necessarily for me. It's just weird starting your day in the early afternoon. It's a little weird. It gets slightly better in summer because you can go to lunch and the sun will be out. So it's sort of like your circadian rhythm is a little bit less messed up. Or I guess dinner you'd call it. You go to dinner and the sun's still out, so you don't get the sense that it's as late. But yeah, so exciting stuff going on at work. Got a new thing might be working on, so that'll be cool. Working on some new professional development stuff. We'll see where that goes. Still trying to learn some basic. Still trying to get a basic competence in some metal joining skills of other types to help the department, but we'll see how that goes. Man, I really wish I had not lost my sunglasses because not that bright, but my house is dark, so eyes are not loving this. In the news, man, this whole presidential handover thing is probably the least smooth that we've seen since, gosh, I don't know. I think even Nixon's handoff was probably smoother than this. But the fact that they're trying to impeach him with a week to go really kind of, I mean, I don't completely get the average politician's loathing of our current president. I get that if he's making decisions that are going against like what you're trying to do, that would upset you. So like if he made some regulation on some business and you're in that business, to be like, oh, fuck Trump, he made this regulation and he screwed up my business. Like that's a legitimate complaint. But this general loathsomeness for this individual is a little bit crazy, I think, when you think about it. I mean, I feel like even when we went to war, people didn't dislike like previous presidents like Bush or I feel like even going to war, people are more mad at the president now than mad at the president that we went to war. That maybe that's not a fair statement. Maybe the numbers are a lot different, but you just get the sense like half the country wants this guy to like rot in prison forever. I don't know if that's true, but the way that the mainstream media would paint this guy would make you think that half of America wants him impeached, taken out, arrested for, insurrection or God knows what, right? Kind of crazy stuff. Yeah, indeed. Or spying on the opposite political party. That's what Watergate was about, right? He was spying on people, tapping phone lines or something without a warrant, which is sort of comical almost in this modern day of Patriot Act, like the government can just kind of sneak in and private business too, kind of monitoring us and listening to the phone and all sorts of stuff. Stick the knife in. Yeah, it's really, he was a knife in their side for 4 years, and now they've, it just, I get that people have different political views, but to spend 4 years trying to destroy a presidency instead of trying to, like, they should have spent 4 years pushing democratic values. They shouldn't have spent 4 years trying to destroy the president that got elected. It's just beyond, because the thing is, like, I don't think he legitimately is a Russian agent, or I don't think there was enough funny business to warrant his impeachment or this incredible backlash that he got from the opposite party for 4 years. I mean, personally. So if the people at the top knew that maybe they really didn't have a chance, like, I don't know. Oh, poor Lexus. I don't know if they legitimately thought they could make a case for it through all this, garbage that they were pushing on it, that at the end of it kind of turned out to be a big nothing burger. If they thought there was A, truly legitimate funny business, and B, they thought they could impeach him, maybe. But I personally think they knew it was bullshit from the beginning. They never thought they had a chance, and they just wanted to shit on him for 4 years because they knew he was going to be a pain in the ass. Whether or not he was a real pain in the ass, I'm sure he likes to act like it, but bills passed, stimulus passed, $10 trillion more dollars in debt or whatever. It's not like he stopped the wheels of government from turning, but they would make you think that he tried to destroy the country the entire time. He hates Muslims and he hates immigrants and he hates all these people. And life has been good in America for 4 years. My experience. I've worked really hard to get ahead. Life is hard, competitive. The bar is sort of automatically being raised as the number of jobs is decreasing and the number of population relative to those jobs continues to increase. And it's not this that people aren't smart or people aren't working or people aren't applying to enough jobs, but the technology is the wave. It's the tide. Tide's not a good example because tides go in and out, but I don't know what a good analogy in nature is. Technology is like a river. It always, it's always flowing. Like a river flowing into a pond or something. I don't know. I really wish this guy would not be standing on the edge of the freeway because I don't know what his mental state of mind is. Ugh. I have to bust my ass at work no matter who the president is. Well, exactly. Some of us have to work. Some of us aren't collecting unemployment. And I won't even poo-poo the stimulus checks because, everybody's getting that. It's not really. I'm personally not a fan of basic income. I'm a fan of basic services like shelter, food, and healthcare. I'm not a fan of everybody gets their own apartment just because they can't afford it. There's a big difference between you get shelter and you get an apartment. You have to work for an apartment. Society could go out of their way to give you some shelter, or at least an ability to make your own shelter in a safe space designated for people doing their own shelter thing. It's not like letting homeless people sleep in a school parking lot is going to decrease the amount of future homeowners. In fact, if you can get homeless people a stable housing situation, not to say that's going to, turn all of them into full-time productive members of society, but that's really not the point. The point is there's always going to be a certain class of people that for a variety of reasons, whether they have problems that are being contributed to by, things like mental health, drug abuse, or just kind of crappy circumstances or whatever it is, they're definitely going to have a harder time, picking themselves up on the street than they are with a little bit of support. But just giving someone an apartment isn't necessarily the solution, because if you just give them an apartment and give them the food and give them the money, why do they ever want to do anything for themselves if they could just get that forever? Now, currently, there's not Section 8 for everyone. Welfare, I don't think, is quite enough to live off, unless maybe you have your rent. Like if you got the Section 8 and you weren't paying anything on top of the Section 8 because it doesn't cover all your stuff, a couple kids, full food stamps, full welfare, and you lived very frugally, you could probably get by, and I'm sure people do, but I don't know. Capitalism is pretty heartless. I mean, I do, I understand that fighting for survival as humans is a really idiotic thing that we have to do. Completely idiotic. Not to say that I want to rely on the government, but as humans, we should be able to come together and say, look, I don't care how much money I have or you have. I don't care how many cars you have or I have, or how much house or land I own or you own. But can we all do like 10 hours of shit a week to just all get food and somewhere like, it would be very, and I know that's like a very socialist communist thing, like let's all work together and provide for everyone. And I don't really believe in that per se, but you can understand that the amount of resources that we have as humanity, in theory, if humans were as loyal as robots, we could all put a very small amount of effort into a combined goal and achieve a result. In practice, it never works like that. But in theory, it could be amazing. People are selfish, though. People are too selfish. They're too focused. Humans will always be focused on the self. You have to train a human to care about their community. I mean, we have a somewhat instinctual desire to join tribes and, all that stuff, but I think in our heart of hearts, every person is kind of out for themselves. That's why relationships and marriage and family and friends, and it's all important to the human existence because it helps us protect self by increasing, the strength of our surroundings. Oh man. Oh. Yeah, mental health and addiction and are not to be taken lightly. And I think addiction is probably a lot less cost intensive than mental health, because mental health tends to be sort of an ongoing thing. Even if you can kind of get someone to a stage where they're kind of coping the best that they can with their certain circumstances, you still kind of need people to like follow up on them and make sure that whether it's medication or whatever part of their health routine keeps them safe, that they're upholding that. So no easy answer to this, but I think providing services in bulk in general is going to be a lot more feasible than on a more individual apartment type basis. Anyways, I got to jump into work. Till next time, like, comment, subscribe, and keep prepping.